Hello, everybody, and welcome back to our Founder Spotlight. Today, I'm very excited to introduce you to Cliff Morgan, who's the CEO and founder of G Fuel, which is a wildly popular brand taking over the world of esports as well as the supplement industry. So thanks for joining me, Cliff. I understand you have a background in corporate finance. How did you decide to get into the world of supplements?
So this is a really insane kind of crazy story that I don't usually get to tell very often, but I got into corporate finance by becoming a retail stockbroker in the early 90s.
Oh, wow.
And ultimately, as I progressed in my career on Wall Street, a big part of my job became entertaining potential corporate banking clients and corporate finance, which meant a lot of nice dinners and expensive bottles of wine. And in hindsight, it was a terrible thought pattern, but I used to say I was fat and happy. And every year I would gain 5 or 10 pounds. And I never thought about being in shape or health because I was young, and I think that younger people just kind of take that for granted. And every year I would buy myself new suits, and I got overweight. And then in the very late 90s, I had a lot of younger brokers that I was training that were coming back from Afghanistan and Kuwait. And these guys were really in tremendous shape. And it kind of encouraged me to start getting into a healthier lifestyle. And I had a very narrow range of what I would eat, which was like cheeseburgers and pizza and regular soda with sugar. And it just never really kicked in mentally to be in better shape. So I kind of changed my entire lifestyle. I'm a very all or none kind of guy. So the day I decided to get into shape, I woke up at 5:30 in the morning. I went to the gym. I worked all day, and I went back to the gym at night. So I did my cardio in the morning. I started lifting weight at night. And then, I was going to the same place twice a day. So you meet people in the gym, and that's who you start to hang out and socialize with. And I really became very focused on getting myself into shape. So fast forward over like the next 6 or 7 years, I tried every supplement that was on the shelves. I just started looking for different all-natural ways where I could make my body better and stronger, but really keeping my long-term health in mind. And believe it or not, I met a gentleman from Long Island whose business was for sale. So I met him because he was a potential banking client. And he made horse supplements. But after meeting me a few times and seeing that I was in good shape, he said, if you take this yourself, you'll get into your muscles will grow and you'll get stronger. And it was gamma oryzanol, which is just a rice bran derivative. So he didn't even give it to me for free. He charged me for my first couple of bottles, and it was made for animals. So it wasn't that it was bad for a person. It just wasn't made to taste good. And it came in a big shampoo style bottle, and it was a liquid. And I started to take a shot of this stuff twice a day. And in about 3 weeks, I really felt it was working. I was getting stronger. So I found a lab that would make it for me, which happened to also be on Long Island. So I called it Gamma O. I got an LLC, incorporated the business, and I was really a one product company for half a dozen years or so. And as I'm sure you know, the biggest category in sports nutrition is pre-workouts, right? So everybody drinks something before they go train. So I made a pre-workout around 2010, and I called it PTF, which just stood for a pre-training formula. And then about 2 years into that, I had a young marketing guy out in California that worked for me, and he was a competitive video game player, which I had never heard of before, ever. So his name was Mason, and he would call me and tell me that he and his teammates at night, they were drinking our PTF, and they had great reaction time, great focus, and they'd play video games and scrimmage all night. And why don't I market to video gamers, which at the time was definitely a little absurd. So
it was a pretty small market back then, right?
Yeah, and they were like orphans, right? Not only was the market really microscopic, but nobody paid attention to them outside of hardware and peripheral companies. Nobody really cared about that emerging business. So in 2012, back then, everybody had to wait online for the new disc to come out, right? There was no digital download like there are today. So in 2012, Mason said to me, listen, the new Call of Duty comes out today. It's a midnight release, and everybody's going to get online at like 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the afternoon and wait on these lines until the disc comes out. And then they're not going to go home and go to sleep. They're going to go home and play it until the sun comes up. So we had some trade show employees that lived in LA, and Mason's teammate managed 11 GameStops in Los Angeles.
Oh
So
boy.
he said, why don't you take the people from the trade shows, because they all had the individual stick pack samples, send them to these 11 GameStops and have them hand out the samples. So I stayed in New York. We did not think this was a big deal. Back at the time, we were just starting to become a digital business. We were good at, MySpace for digital marketing back then and brand awareness, but our website had anywhere from 1 to 3 transactions a day. So like every other entrepreneur, I'd have my morning ritual. I would wake up, I would check my bank balance to make sure I actually had money in there. I would check the reviews online, and I would check the website to see if we had any transactions the day before. And as a team, we were trying to get a full month where we had a transaction, at least one every day. So the trade show people go to these 11 GameStops, they hand out these samples. I wake up the next morning hoping for a 1 or a 2, and there's almost over 280 transactions online.
Whoa.
And that's when I saw the power of this gaming community. And back then I knew I couldn't overly exploit the space by calling it gaming fuel or whatever. And the business had been Gamma Labs. So I called it G Fuel. I came out with 3 flavors in December of 2012. And we made a hard pivot as a brand to be in this emerging world of video gaming. And we never looked back. That was the beginning of the G Fuel journey.
That is an amazing story. Absolutely fascinating. And it's so great that you listened to a young employee and kind of followed his lead. And we just always have to keep in touch with what's happening that we might not know about ourselves. And that's a great way to do it. Tell me, what is your favorite product, if you can name one?
Pac-Man, which is a cherry lollipop, is definitely one of my new favorites. I think the new ones always become a favorite for a limited time.
Sure. How do you go about deciding who you want to partner with? Do you want to do a license? How do you tell us all about that?
We started out by partnering with individual gamers and naming flavors after them. Then a lot of them were after the actual gaming orgs or the teams. And then more recently, we have partnered with a lot of movies. We have deals with Warner Brothers and Sony. We've done Venom. We've done
Pac-Man here. I love that.
And now the iconic gaming stuff does very, very well for us. Like the Sonic that I'm drinking now, the Pac-Man, which we're very, very excited about. That's definitely a newer flavor. I know that's available right now in vitamin shops. And look, we didn't start out, we had to earn our way in with a lot of these publishers. So we started out working with some games that are much lesser known. They're known within the community, but I think outside the community, everybody knows Pac-Man. I think almost everybody knows Sonic. But we worked our way up and we earned our way in with those brands. And we're really thrilled that a lot of these partnerships are kind of leading the way and opening the doors for us for new business, and also attracting new customers that might not be into the current gaming space, but you have people a little older than that will recognize a lot of these names.
Without giving anything away, are there any future goals for the company that you can talk to us about?
So we are continuing to cast a wider net. I think one of the things that I don't want to say has limited our growth, but I think maybe a popular misconception is that people think, well, if I'm not playing video games, maybe I should be drinking something else. And that's definitely not true. I think if you're going to school and studying, or you're working, which I think a lot of our audience might have found us when they were, high school, college, and now they're all entering the workplace and they're discovering, hey, this is better for me, it's healthier, and it's more effective than drinking a cup of coffee on the way to work or during the day for performance before they go to the gym, which is another reason why we were so excited about the Vitamin Shop partnership. We want to make sure that the entire world knows that, if there's a reason why they feel like they need good, clean, high performance energy, especially with more of a modern formula, as we talked about technology, right? Technology changes just in the world of tech space and gaming and electronics, but also in the world of ingredients and production. So we feel that we have a nice cutting edge formula that will provide people with good, clean energy whenever they may need it.
This was so much fun, Cliff. Thank you so much for spending the time with us here today. And thank you for being a Vitamin Shop customer and now supplier as well.
Thanks, Muriel. It was so nice meeting you.